I am so excited to be with you today on the set here of the Best of Raleigh. Today, I have an interesting guest with me. Matt Harmon with Harmon Property Solutions is a one-stop shop for everything that we need digitally to getting a home ready for market. For example, measurements, appraisals, which is a really hot topic right now, photography, videography, 3D tours, all kinds of amazing things. And I have known Matt for a long time. So Matt, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for letting me be here.
Welcome to the Best of Raleigh with your host and real estate expert, Gretchen Coley, owner of the Coley Group. This show is all about the people and places that make the Raleigh area so special. Here's your host, Gretchen Coley.
And I don't think I told everybody that he works with most of the amazing real estate teams and agents in this market. So when you want to work with an expert, you want someone like Matt. So Matt, tell us a little bit about you.
Of course. So I live in Raleigh, have lived in Raleigh for over 25 years. I have 4 kids and a wife.
How old are your kids?
17, 15, 13, and 13.
Twins?
Yeah, well, we adopted one. The boys are 10 days apart in age.
Wow.
Yeah, we just had prom this past weekend, and my daughter's going to App State in the fall.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations. What are you going to do with all the time you found by your daughter going to school?
It's spend time with the other 3 kids.
So you're in the thick of it here in Raleigh.
Yes.
You've been here for 25 years. The market's changed a lot.
So much.
Raleigh has changed a lot in 25 years. What do you love most about it?
What do I love? I love where we are in the state. I love that we can get to the beach easily, get to the mountains easily. I'm from the mountains, but I love the beach, and so I love being able to go to both. I love the food here. It's just a great place to raise a family.
Sounds
too.
like you might have had some influence on your daughter going to App State, huh?
Yes, yeah. Wanted to have time in the mountains for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, I do think that Raleigh gives you so many of those dynamics, but you know, you've built an incredible business here, and I want to talk a little bit about business, and we'll come back to family kind of in the end, but tell me a little bit about Harmon Property Solutions. How long have you been in business?
12 years. We started back in 2012. When we first started, we were doing appraisals, measurements, photography, and that was it. And I was doing it all by myself, and we did that for the first probably 3 years. And I realized this is just too much. I'm working every night into the night. I'm editing photos through the night so I could start fresh every morning the next day. So I started building a team. And I was already working with some of the best agents in the Triangle. I wanted to continue to build that. And so we started adding people that could just help me do more of what I was doing. And it eventually became a team where I have people in the right seats doing the things that make me better at what I do. And we have 15 people on the team now, actually across the country and across the world that help us get all of our stuff done.
That's amazing, because I'll tell you, I met you in 2016 when I first came into General Brokers. So I met you just as you were starting to build this team. So I do feel like our businesses have grown kind of parallel to each other, right? Like obviously I'm not your only client, but I feel like I've seen that growth of where it was just 3 or 4 of you, and now, you know, 15 people across the globe. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, and congratulations to you as well.
Yeah, thanks. So you came in the office last week, 2 weeks ago, and that is what prompted this conversation, because I was so intrigued, and I was actually floored, because for those of you out there, when you go to put a house on the market, there's a couple of really crucial things that need to happen. The first thing you need to do, and you're legally bound to as a real estate agent, is figure out what square footage is. So you can choose to measure it yourself, or you can choose, which is never going to happen with me and my math skills. I can't measure my dishwasher. Or you're going to hire a service to measure your house for you. And when they measure it, they give you these great little floor plans that help a buyer envision it, because as you know, right, houses are bought and sold online before anybody ever walks through the door, right? They come in just to verify. They come in to see it, touch it, feel it. So I was so intrigued with this new technology that you were telling us about that I'm not really keen on. It's called scanning technology. And in this technology, instead of a hand measure like we really like, which is super accurate, people are going in who are not qualified to measure houses, and they're using a scanner or phone to measure and create a floor plan, which is causing a lot of problems in the market. So tell me a little bit about that.
Sure, and I loved coming to talk to your team because as I'm talking about this, you're getting it. You're asking all the right questions. You see why this would be a problem. And I'm glad we could talk about it more today. So this trend really started a couple of years ago when the technology got good enough to come to market. And the Real Estate Commission kind of weighed in on it in November of last year, and they said, as a real estate agent, you can measure the house with a tape measure, a laser device, or an app on your cell phone. And that really opened up the conversation to many people coming into the marketplace and offering this as a service where they pull out a cell phone, they scan the room, it produces a sketch, and that sketch people are using as their square footage source. And it's really neat technology. It looks really nice, but I just don't think it's ready for the market yet.
So, it's kind of funny because I love that you said that. And we're going to show you guys some images for those of you who are watching online of the disclaimers that it says on the bottom of these sketches. And I didn't realize it, but the way I figured it out was I took over a listing of a home. And the other agent had failed, and they had this beautiful sketch of this $3 million house. And so, of course, the first thing I do is call you and go, I want a sketch like this. And you're like, I can't give you a sketch like that. And here's all the reasons why. And so I took that sketch and I went to Fiverr and I had somebody make me a new one that looked like it, but I had you come measure the house. The house ended up measuring larger than it did in that initial square footage measurement by the scanning device. And at $530 a square foot, 50 feet is a lot. 100 feet is a lot. You don't have room for error when it comes to square footage.
You don't, and there's really two ways that we've seen the scans be wrong. To the small side is what is most often what we see because it underrepresents the square footage of the home by not including all of the wall thickness, and that's what I'm guessing was the case for that home. The other way we see it is where it overrepresents the square footage because the operator includes a screen porch in the living area. They include a garage in the living area. Things like that that could throw it off by 200, 300 square feet. And then you've overrepresented, and then you've got sadness that trickles down through the whole transaction.
Yeah, that's not sadness. That's called getting your checkbook out. The tears will flow, but so will the money. So give me a story about measurements gone wrong.
Sure. So we had an agent come to us, and is an agent that we work with. We measure all their listings, and they said, "I'm representing this buyer, and we're looking at this listing, and we see this sketch, and something just doesn't look right. Would you take a look at it for me?" So I pull it up and I start looking at it, and I realize, oh, this is one that we've measured before. I actually have a hand-drawn measurement of this house, so this is really helpful. I can compare that to this scan I'm looking at, and as I'm comparing both of them, I'm seeing that a screen porch was called a sunroom. And I'm like, this is a problem. You can't do this. So whoever was operating that scanning device, when they scanned that screen porch, they didn't tell the software, this is not living area. And it included that extra 300 square feet of screen porch in the living area.
That would freak me out completely. We require on this team every single one of our houses to be measured. I don't care if it was put on the market last week and they pulled it from the agent. I don't care if it's new construction. We measure every single house that we bring to market because the liabilities are so strong. And now what really piqued my interest on this is now with agents who may not be the caliber that we are, who may not set the bar as high as we do because it costs money to do that, right? It's a couple $100 to do a measurement and a floor plan. So if you don't want to spend the money, it's very easy to get that photographer to come out with their cell phone and measure the house for you, and it doesn't really cost you that much more, so it becomes a value add. But then, for us working with our buyers, we have a duty to the buyer to verify that whatever that agent in the market is doing is correct because it's our buyer who's buying it.
Right.
And there's a couple of tells, right, on these scans.
Yes.
So tell me what the disclaimer is because you probably know it from memory.
Yeah, well, they all have a different one, but they'll say something about dimensions are approximate, need to be independently verified, something along those lines.
Not for use in sales.
Yeah. And people are using these as their square footage source. One thing I really respect about your team is for years we've been measuring your new construction listings.
Yeah.
Not every person that's selling new construction in the Triangle is actually getting those homes measured. They're using plans and blueprints. your team hasn't done that, and you've probably really helped those builders make more.
Oh my
because
gosh.
the plans almost always underrepresent the square footage.
Well, I agree with that. And I think it's so crazy that people don't do this, because in North Carolina, we either have a fiduciary duty to the seller or a fiduciary duty to the buyer. And it doesn't cost that much money or time to do the right thing. But it can cause a lot of trauma if you don't. So I've got a prime example of that on new construction. A house we had on Mayview with DJF Builders, super reputable builder, been building for 30 years. Before we price the house, we measure it. So the blueprints measured 3,147 square feet. Your measurements came back at 3,649 square feet. And I just got my calculator out to do the math, because that's significant. That's $249,000 at $500 a square foot that builder would have lost. And once you price a house, it's everywhere, right? It's on Zillow, Redfin, all those places. But it goes the reverse too. What happens if the square footage is bigger?
Yeah, somebody's going to come off their price. And what I tell people is, even if the scan is only off by 1 or 2%, because that's what I'll hear sometimes, like, it's not a big deal, it's only 1 or 2%. 1 or 2%, if your seller finds out that you're doing that, is that a big deal to them?
Yeah. Oh,
That's
yes.
That's thousands of dollars.
That's your whole commission.
Yeah, exactly.
So they could do it themselves and not have to pay you.
Right.
If you can't get within 1 to 2%, right?
Right.
And then for a buyer, buyers are buying homes. And when we sit down with someone who's looking at buying a home, and we're running a CMA, a comparative market analysis, and we're looking at all the houses around, and we're getting them square footage pricing, which I don't know is always the right way to price a house, but that's the industry. That's what we do. And we're looking at overall sales price. And for a buyer sitting down and making a call on what they're going to spend on a house, what purchase price they're going to offer, is a huge deal. And that square footage is everything. And if you get it wrong, they lose the house and they lose it to another buyer. Or if it's wrong, they overpay and they lose it when they go to sell.
And that's what I saw you get immediately in that office was, oh, this is happening in our market. I'm seeing that a quarter of new listings hitting the market have a scan as the source of square footage, which is a huge number.
Huge.
That's happening in our market. Buyers have no idea. They have no idea that's where it's coming from. These buyers are making offers based on a wrong number. Buyers agents have a responsibility to do some kind of check. And you made that connection immediately, and you said, we are doing this on our buy transactions. We're going to tell our buyers this is something they should consider doing in the inspection process.
Well,
Sure
I can tell you right now, if you're an agent in this market and you're getting your houses scanned, we're going to see it. And now that we know, we've put together a program with you to where we're going to measure every house for a buyer and as a value proposition to ensure that the buyers are making the right decisions, right?
Right. They think that number is trustworthy. They think it's in the MLS. That listing agent has gotten it from a trustworthy source. And there's just a lot more happening behind the scenes they don't know
Well,
about.
and I don't think the listing agents realize it, because until you showed up, I wouldn't have known how to look at one of those and
Right.
figure out, other than the fact that the one I did send you. But now I know what they look like, and now I'm looking for them. And our team knows the moment they see one of those, it's got to be verified. And you can write an offer on it, do whatever you want, but that square footage has to be verified for that buyer. What else are you seeing in the market today that is kind of, always markets evolve, right? Technologies change. What else are you seeing?
I am still shocked by how many listings have cell phone photos.
I know. I knew you were going to say
That's
that.
my number one. I can't believe it when I look through. And I don't just mean cheap houses, flippers. I mean luxury homes.
Listen, we take them over all the time.
Yeah.
The agent puts them on the market. They might not be that savvy in being able to convince a seller as to why they should pay them. And they cheap out. And it's detrimental to the seller, right?
And I always tell the agents, this is the cheapest way to build your brand. You're spending $200.
Yeah.
You're getting these classy looking photos that
Yeah.
build your brand. They make more money for your seller, more money for you. Why would you not push that button and do
agree.
that?
I agree. Well, you are a one-stop shop, which is what I love about you. So we could really do everything. We have our own in-house videography at this point, but you could do everything in one stop all together at one time, right? So you guys can go in. Tell me a little bit about not just photos that you're doing, but you're doing some really cool 3D video stuff too, right?
Sure. Yeah, our bread and butter is to measure and photograph listings. That's what we do all day long. We came up with something called our Essentials package a few years ago, which includes our MLS data collection service. That's where we'll go through the house, we'll collect all the information you need to enter it into the MLS. We also create a property website for the agent for that. Zillow 3D tours are something we started offering within the last year, and that is the easiest way to hack the system and get extra views, look like the hero for your seller, because you're getting everything boosted in the Zillow ecosystem. So we're doing much more of those 3D scans. Still do Matterport, but I really recommend the Zillow 3D over that. Doing regular property websites, we're doing videography, do drone. All those services, we can handle all of them with one call.
So how are you setting up the websites? Are you doing that like an independent website for an agent who might not have a website? How does
That's
that
right.
work? Okay.
Yeah, it's just a landing page. It's a place to put your high-res photos, because the MLS compresses.
Yeah.
It just compresses everything. So it's a place to put your high-res photos, your high-res floor plan. If you got great videography done, you can put that there, all those things.
That's great. So what does it cost for like an essentials package on like a 3,000 square foot house?
It's around $450.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a great price. And it's one-stop shop and your seller's only out of the house once, right?
that's right. That's the idea. One appointment, they're not having to leave for multiple hours, and we can get it all done.
Well, so you're in the real estate market so much. So you are seeing the trends, you're seeing the ups and downs and the roller coasters that we call life. What are you hearing from people right now? We're currently at the time of this filming in the second quarter of 2024. We had a massive first quarter. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah, massive. Like home appreciation, when I pulled Raleigh this morning, it was single family homes had appreciated at actually the market as a whole, 7.6%, single family homes at over 14% just since January 1, which is insane. That's a big jump, right? What are you seeing?
So what I'm seeing, second quarter is when we've really seen our biggest jump in terms of listings hitting the market. We had a great first quarter, but what I'm seeing really is when interest rates started to do what they've been doing recently, people are like, okay, this is it, let's go. And tons of new listings hitting the market. We had several days last week where we were seeing 35 plus homes in a single day. And that all of those are about to start hitting the market, right? And so huge increase in listings hitting the market, which is what everyone's been looking for a long time, because we do work with over 1,000 different realtors. So we see kind of a wide view of the market, what's coming, what's happening at price points. There's some markets where we'll see a ton of luxury listings hitting, then we'll see that freeze up and it stops. So we're seeing really widespread growth at all price points for new listings hitting the market.
I think that's so good for the market. We need it so badly. And, I think my biggest concern in this market is Raleigh has always been such an affordable place to live, right?
Yeah.
You know it. You've been here for 25 years. I mean,
Yeah.
what did you pay for your first house?
175.
Yeah. I don't know if we could find that
Yeah.
again. So we've always been such a great low cost of living place to live, and just through sheer growth, right? And all of the economic factors that are pouring into Raleigh, we're seeing an escalation in markets that, is driving up the cost of housing. And then you compile that with high interest rates, which most people said, if you have high rates, you're going to have low prices. Well, that model's been, completely myth busted, right? But it's definitely scary because you feel like the first time buyer struggles a little bit. But you're seeing the fringes too, right? You can go 20 minutes out.
That's right.
And get a great house.
Yep, I'm seeing that right now. My parents are looking for a house, right? So they've been looking in Raleigh, then they stepped out to Wake Forest, and they stepped out to Youngsville, and they're like, okay, we found
Youngsville's on fire.
Right, they found what they're looking for. It's in Youngsville. It's just out on the fringes. So that is existing at all the fringes of the market area.
I think so. So what do you see for the future of Raleigh?
Nothing but growth. I mean, it's just such a great place to live. I mean, it's been on the top 10 list for how long? I mean,
Ever.
Right? We keep hitting these lists, and it is still affordable when you compare it to
It
other
is.
markets, Austin, the other places where people are moving. You see that we still top those lists, and we're just positioned so well in the state. We've got all the different sectors. We've got economic, we've got technology, we've got educational, we've got government. All those things happening here. I just see it continuing to grow, and hopefully steadily. Like, it was
I
not
agree.
healthy what happened over the past 5 years. But we're looking for steady growth and just a great place for families to move, for anyone to move.
And I think both of us have proven it's a great place to grow a business, right? So
right.
what do you see for the future of your business? Where are you going from your one-man shop in 2012
Yeah.
to 15 people now and 1,000 agents. Could you imagine working for 1,000 agents? I don't know what I would do. Woo, that would be crazy. I don't know how you manage that.
I love it. It's a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
Where do I see the business growing? I am coming into a place where I'm getting to do things like this,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm getting to share experiences and what I'm seeing in the market and what I've learned, experiences I've had that not everyone else gets to have. And I'm finally getting to share those things, and I love it.
Yeah.
I've just had my head down measuring houses and just trying to keep up for so long. I'm finally putting my head up, growing the business in the way I want to grow it, putting the right people in place at our company, and I love it. I love where we are.
I love what you're doing too, because I love the fact that you're in our offices educating us and educating our agents, because, the industry is moving really fast. The market moves really fast and technology moves at warp speed. So for us to be on the cutting edge of all the new things, and what I also love about you is you call more than you email. Emails they just don't work right now because our inboxes are
It's
so full.
twofold.
So every time you have a new product or a new solution or something, you call us. But being able to come in and spend an hour with our team, it really means the world to us, because I feel like we're able to really adapt to a system and really highlight, North Carolina's a buyer beware state. We have due diligence and there's a lot of money at risk. So being able to be on the cutting edge of that is a huge thing. And so we're so grateful for you participating today. I'm so excited to have you. And for those of you who don't know Matt, where can they find you?
Yes, you can find me on our website, harmonps.com. You can find us on Instagram at Harmon_PS. All of our things are there.
And for all of you agents who are listening that might used to use Matt and went to somebody else, you better come back. Because now the word is out.
We completely revamped our photography about a year and a half ago, and it couldn't have been at a better
And
time. The market was shifting.
And there's no shame in the game. Look, we like the comeback, right?
That's right.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for spending time with us. And for those of you out there listening, if you have these types of needs, it's really important to us as a company to show you the people, the places, and the businesses that you need to know and work with in Raleigh, because Matt and I, we think Raleigh is an awesome place to live. We've both raised our families here, and we love helping others in the community. So we drop a new episode every Friday on Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube, and we will see you in the next Best of Raleigh. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Gretchen.
See you later.